And we're off. All right. So, like I said, Adrian Yanez starts the show off with us. UFC bantamweight, 16-4 overall. What's going on, Adrian? How are you?
Man, I am doing great. Living life, man. Yeah, here in Vegas, I love coming to Vegas, especially whenever like there's big fight feels. Like I came here last International Fight Week, and you just have that aura of like just something big's about to happen. And this week, same deal. Landing in Vegas was just a whole different vibe, whole feel. So any other time I came to Vegas is usually like fight related, but you know, coming on the being able to watch the fights and enjoy Vegas a little bit, it's a blessing. I love this. I love this fight feeling. Going to the PI, seeing all the high level fighters, you know, running into like the guys who are getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. I think that's so cool, man. I fanboy a little bit.
Hey, we all do. I'm fanboying over you, you know, honestly. And I love the fighters. I love what you guys do. When Goes told me that Adrian was coming to the studio, I was like, couldn't we get any better? No, I'm just kidding. I said, hell yeah, I was down. You know what I mean? So
like, well, thank you so much. You didn't get robbed? What's going on?
No, thank you so much for stopping by. We've been big fans of yours. And, you know, I'm glad you get to experience Fight Week kind of like as a fan, like you said, as a fan, no pressure, and enjoy it. You know what I mean? And soak it all up. Because you're right. When it's a business trip, man, it's a whole different animal. For one, you're cutting cards. You know, you got the focus of the fight. I mean, let's face it. You and your underwear for the thousands in the arena, millions at home, and you're trying to basically stop the other guy from killing you. And you're doing the same thing to him. I can't imagine what that would be like.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. It's always stressful. It's always this weird energy flying in. Like you get into this like mindset that you're going into a fight, and then not only just on top of that, you got people just watching you at all times. It's a weird feeling. Like, you know, you go and do an interview and you say something, you're weight cutting, so you say something stupid. You're like, no, I shouldn't have said that. Now people are roasting you on Twitter. So there's a lot of things that kind of like weigh in on you. But now it's like me watching as a fan on International Fight Week, man. It's really cool. It's like cool to sit back and watch everything kind of move as a process, and watch like the UFC like as a well-oiled machine just turn. And I like watching that, and especially being able to watch that from the inside, you know, because I get the extra experience of being like a fan, but I'm also a fighter that has the opportunity to watch these other fighters up close. You know, the other fans don't get that, so I am truly appreciative of like watching that type of stuff.
I'm gonna ask you something real quick, George. Sorry. You could fist bump me, or you could tell me I'm crazy, right? But so I went to UNLV, right? That's my university, and there's times where we get to walk in the Thomas and Mack, and you sit there and there's nobody there, and you go, Julio Cesar Chavez fought here. You know, you can almost feel like you see the pictures of all the fighters that have fought there before, even the big basketball games, the black and white pictures, and you kind of feel that energy. Our studio's at Mandalay Bay, so when we're walking through that arena when nobody's around, it's like it's the skeleton, the bones, you know, and you see Felix Trinidad and De La Hoya and all the big fights that have happened. Do you go home even more motivated after a week like this, where it's a mixture of guys that you may fight, guys that are in other weight classes, but there's also legends walking around, right?
Oh yeah, man. Actually, it was crazy. We're at the hotel, and we're walking actually just to go to the UFC PI, come down, and while we were walking, like I just noticed somebody. I'm looking up, and I'm like, oh, like that guy looks very, very familiar.
At the PI?
No, at the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Just walking past, and then all of a sudden I look. I'm like, that's Jose fucking Aldo. Jose fucking. I was like, that's absolutely crazy. Like I was telling my guy Ricky, I was like, that's Jose fucking Aldo. He starts like tripping out and everything. So we got to shake Jose Aldo's hand while we were going. I was like, man, like this is crazy. Like I'm watching a legend right there. Just walked right past me, like a featherweight, like one of the greatest of all times at featherweight, you know, and just. That was absolutely amazing, you know. At one point, before he retired and moved on from the UFC, like I was like, oh man, that might be a possibility. But now I'm watching him and seeing him, I'm like, I don't care. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. So yeah, no, I do get those feelings of like just being able to watch. And you know, I went to a Rockets game, and just being in the Toyota Center, I could feel where like the fans would be. Like I imagined where the cage would be at. So yeah, like every single time like I go there, it's just, man, I would want to fight here, do this, you know, fight.
I have a question for George now. He was at a Rockets game. If we were at the Rockets game and we said, hey, Adrian, we're here too, do you think he would go like this? Or would he go like this?
Yeah, he would look up and we'd have shitty seats and we'd be waving at you. But the difference is, if this happened at the Lakers Staples Center, you'd go, I can't see you. There's so many banners hanging from the ceiling, whereas you guys only have 2 banners hanging from your ceiling. What's up with H-Town? You guys can't win titles. I mean, the Astros brought it home recently, right? And then the Rockets have 2, but other than that, it's such a big city. Like it.
You know,
you need to be the guy. You need to be the rep.
See,
right?
that's I don't know. It just kind of feels like that, you know. But at the same time, it's one of those guys. It's one of those things that Houston rides for Houston no matter what. So even if we're losing, we're still riding with the guys 100%. Like look at Derek Lewis, man. He hasn't had the greatest run yet, but if I'm telling you, the place will absolutely be packed out no matter where. If he goes to a bar, it's going to get packed out immediately. Houston loves Houston, and forever will always be like one of those. There's
been some great teams. So again, I'm old. We get it. But I followed the Houston Oilers. I don't even know if you were alive when the Oilers existed. And that team was awesome. Big Earl Campbell. You know what I mean? Let's start with him. And then there's J.R. Richard and a bunch of guys in
Warren Moon.
Yeah, Warren Moon from the, older guys, like I said. I mean, I had to go back to Olajuwon and all that, but I understand what it's like. Yeah, that town does. They do roll hard for the fellas. Hopefully, they can do the same thing for you. Have you already started to notice a difference in terms of like your popularity in H-Town?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely wild. And I love it. Even just the because even the surrounding areas of Houston, we still call it Houston. You know, that's how tight knit Houston is. Like we were like, all right, well, here's Conroe, but everybody else, if somebody else were talk mess about Conroe, that's Houston. That's Houston. Like if you talk about like Pasadena, LaPorte, or Baytown, or all these other places, that are surrounding you, like, no, we're talking about those areas. No, you're talking about Houston. So it's weird, but Houston loves Houston, so. It's one of those things that, like, I have noticed the jump. It's crazy. I don't know how many times I went to the grocery store and all of a sudden this guy is walking around with his girlfriend and he starts looking. He's like, oh my god, that's Adrian Yanez. I'm like, I don't know what to do in those moments. So I just go, hi, I'm Adrian. So it's crazy that the amount of times that's happened is absolutely nuts and wild. So seeing that multiplied from the first time I fought to the last time I fought, man, honestly, it's crazy, but it's also a blessing.
What's in that cart when he goes, hey, there's Adrian Yanez? You know he's going to look at your basket. What's in there?
Oh, no. Anytime somebody sees me at the grocery store, I have a Dr. Pepper on hand.
Yeah.
Nice. You ever had contact with them?
No, they sent me stuff. They sent me the Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream. They sent me like a whole gift, like a little gift box and everything. It came with 2 koozies. They gave me a hat, shoelaces, and the 2 they gave me, because I was in fight camp at that time, they gave me Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream regular, and then they gave me the 0, and I was like,
so you're on the radar.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm there.
How do we get them to send you a check? That's what we want.
You know what? I don't know. That's why I got my guy Ricky over here trying to make me shoot all the best content for them and be like, hey, we see your content you're putting out. Let's you know what? Here you go. I see you repping Dr. Pepper really hard. Here's a nice little coin, All
right. So listen, let's get the 800-pound gorilla out of the room, like they say. Because every time we talk to you, it's off a win. I think you won 8 or 9 straight.
Oh yeah.
Up until the last fight. Have you already shaken that one off, or is it something that sees inside you still until the next fight? How does that work for Adrian Yanez?
Oh, every fight still, every loss on my record still burns my heart.
Really?
Like it really does. Yeah. Like
you went 7-3. And then 9-1. So you kind of put 7-3 in the past, because that 9-1 was mostly in the UFC. You're still bothered about what happened when you were younger?
100%. Because I don't know. Like it's just always one of those things that like I'd never gotten a rematch, because I always feel like, man, I want to get a rematch. I want to correct my wrongdoings. That's how like if I do something wrong, I want to try to do what I can to make it right. And that's how I felt like in those fights. I wanted to try to do what I can to make it right, So, I'm still irked by them, but also they were also really big lessons that I needed at those times. Like my first loss taught me a big valuable lesson. My second loss taught me. My first loss is that, man, you can't treat everybody like they're like, because I thought I walked into that cage thinking I'm just about to run through this guy. Like, man, I'm just about to just walk through him. He can't take my shot. He can't do this. You know, I never, like, I was just, at that time, I went undefeated as an amateur, won my pro debut, and stopped the guy. And then my second fight, I'm like, you know what? I'm about to just knock 3 guys out, call the UFC. I'm here, you know, do that type of number. But that first loss really kind of set my mind, like, oh shit, I'm not invincible, you know, I can be beat. So not only on top of that, like in that fight I got my jaw broke, so pretty much I was like,
in the first loss,
so not only was that a first loss, was like just a first initial loss in just my MMA career, I also like was battling through a broken jaw at that time. So I broke it in the first round, win all 3, and then
you're sipping Dr. Pepper through a straw?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. And drinking Dr. Pepper shakes from Whataburger. But yeah, so it taught me, like, I can't take anybody for granted. My second fight was just more like, it turned into like, hey, look, you might respect the guy's skills a lot, but sometimes you just have to go. Something has to fire off. And then my next fight was more of the same thing in the sense of, like, I wasn't doing it for me, I was doing it for something else. And whenever you're doing that, you don't really put your best effort forward. And in that fight, you know, after the fight, like, I was like in the back just pissed off, you know, telling my coach, like, I'm not fucking exhausted, I'm not dog tired. It was a 5-round fight. I'm not tired, I'm not breathing hard.
Coach Saul, the late Coach Saul?
Yes, okay. Late Coach Saul. I'm in the back, and you know, he didn't have to tell me anything because he knew what I was saying was right. So he was just like, well, you already know. And pretty much, like, I was like, I didn't put my best foot forward, I should be exhausted. And you know, it made me change my mindset and going after these guys and being like, no, I love who I was doing it for at that time. And it's not that I'm not doing it for them. I have to do it for myself first, and then everything else comes second. So that's where I was kind of, you know, jaded for a while, like before my that loss. But after that loss, it's like, nah, I got to go out there and I got to starch all these guys. I got to murder these guys. But this last loss with Font, pretty much, yeah, CTE kicking. I'm sorry, guys. No, but it showed me that I can let my emotions get the best of me, and also, like, so he hit me, like, I had the greatest first minute I had in the fight. Go out there, you know, he came out strong. I popped him. We were going back and forth, low leg kick him. I'm like, all right, cool. What I worked in training camp is now adding up, doing everything right. And that didn't really get touched up with a jab as much as I was thinking he was going to throw it in that first minute. But after that, once I started getting popped and I had him hurt, I went for a kill, and then he popped me again, and I instantly was just like, I just got angry. I let my emotions get away from me, and I just started like, no, I'm gonna throw with you. Like, no, I'm the better banger. And then instead of fighting smart, I fought stupid. I got out of my mind. Like, I got like out of what I'm supposed to be doing. So after that fight, it's been more of me reassessing and just like, all right, what can I do to get better? And I'm consistently going back to that fight and to my first fight, because I feel like those two right there are kind of equal in a sense, you know? So yeah, it's still very, like, I think about it every day, because I'm just like, what can I do to prevent that from happening
So
again?
what can you do?
Oh,
maybe just, rather than get angry or panic, stay calm and just recollect yourself?
Yeah, stay calm.
What was the lesson learned, I guess?
Yeah, so pretty much, just to call back to my Randy Costa fight. That fight was not going my way in the first 3 minutes of that round whatsoever. I was getting beat up from post to post, you know. So, props to Randy, he did his thing for those 3 minutes. But like, yeah, I had to stay composed during those times. And whenever I did, I started finding my way back into the fight. Like, you know, I was like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. And, you know, this is adding up. Okay, I start seeing the slowdown. Let me go to the body. And I was able to pick it up as time went. I should have took more of that approach with the Font fight, even though I had a game plan that not even just a game plan, the way that we've been training for the fight, you know, to get the victory. But, you know, I completely threw everything out the window. As soon as I got hit, my emotions got the best of me. But also too, like, it's just a mentality thing within even just the training camp, because there'd be times where I go with a guy who was not as good as me. You know, not to try to say that in a disparaging way. Like, I was already a level above the guy. The guy was like an amateur. You know, it was like more like an off-round type of deal. I would throw some punches, you know, and then I'd get hit with a shot, and they were like, "Oh, I'm turning this up." You know, I was like, so that would end up, like, I think that's what shot me in the foot, is that I wasn't treating everybody as equal. Like, oh, this guy can put me out. This guy can put me out. You know, I was just like, oh, you know, let me throw this jab. I'll drop my hands and start using my head movement, start moving around and all that stuff. So I kind of felt like it was me kind of not, you know, not fighting at my level, but like kind of lowering my level. It was just a whole ordeal.
Yeah, okay. I get that. But let me ask you this, okay? So I know you weren't undefeated, but it's kind of the same mentality. You had a really, really long streak, which is really hard to do in our sport.
9-1's awesome.
That's hard to do.
10.2.
We've spoken to undefeated fighters before that have said when that first loss happens, there's this sort of weight that's lifted off of their shoulders. Having a streak like that, did you experience anything like that? Did you have like a weight taken off a little bit?
I wouldn't say not a weight lifted off my shoulders. But I was just like, I think I was just at that time just more pissed at myself, because I knew the implications of what would be next after that fight and what was coming after that fight. I was more pissed off at myself because, like, I was like, you know, I've already experienced the loss. I had a long streak. You know, I wanted to make it double digits. You know, like, not even like a big weight lift off my shoulders, but I knew I was angry with myself because I knew what in all intents and purposes, what I fucked up. I fucked up not doing what I was supposed to be doing. I took a guy for granted. I paid the price, you know. I wouldn't say weight's been lifted off my shoulders, because now there's a whole nother new weight of me having to do this comeback. Like, I don't want to be the guy that comes back. I want to be the guy that dominates, you know.
I like that. Now, your division, him and I are talking about your division every day. It's absolutely nuts. When can we know about what's coming next for you?
Man, I've been hammering for a fight since for a month already. Once I got cleared by the doctor, I immediately got off the phone with the doctor, got on the phone with my manager, Jason, and I was like, hey, what's up? You know, what are we doing? What's next? And trying to get something going. And, you know, I know for the longest time, the division was kind of being held up with what Henry was going to do. Like, hey, is Henry going to fight Cheeto, or was he going to fight Marab? And I think that was kind of up in there for a month. And, you know, I was sitting back trying to wait, and like, hey, what am I going to do? I'm not up there. I'm back here. What am I doing? I was like, I'll fight somebody just outside the top 15 who deserves to be in the top 15 if nobody in my general area is trying to get matched up. Like, I don't mind fighting. I just want to start getting active, because I've only fought once in a year, and I don't like that feeling. I want to fight again. I want to get really active. So but the last I heard, September 16th might be a date, but I told them it's either September 16th or before. I'm already training. I'm already looking to get back in there. So hopefully I hear some news soon. Can
I make a pitch?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
All right, look, on one of our shows that we do, the Spinning Back Click, one of the topics this week was, with Henry Cejudo falling out, Marlon Vera needs an opponent. Everybody we went through the panel, I suggested Adrian Yanez. I think it'd be a fun matchup. Is that something that you would be interested in, or?
Oh yeah, no. This whole division's scared. Like, when Cheeto dropped out, man, Henry dropped out on Thursday. Called my manager trying to test the waters. We had the same manager, so I was like testing the waters. But that next morning, I was like, hey, I know y'all are close. I know y'all are homies, but I don't want to make this weird. But I know nobody's raising their hand. I know nobody wants to fight him. I'll fight him. And he pretty much told me, he was like, this is why I love you. Nobody's raising their hand to fight Cheeto. I was like, yeah, I'll fight him. Like, yeah, like, I'll do it. But it was just one of those things that, like, I haven't heard anything since. So
it hasn't been shot down either.
Yeah, so it hasn't been like, nothing else has been brought to my attention.
You can fight. You can be ready by August. What is it? 19th?
I'll definitely show up to that cage that day. 100%.
He's also working off of a loss.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like, you know, he's higher ranked. I get that part.
Yeah, that's
so he'd have to be looking back versus looking forward, I guess.
And I look, here's the thing. I know my position as well too. I'm like number 13th in the division. So him, I think I don't know what exactly what division is.
But Adrian, let me stop you there. Don't say that, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because
then that ruins my chances, right?
Well, a little bit, yeah. It's like you're assisting the UFC
Yeah.
in dismissing you as someone. He probably wants to fight. He's anxious to get in there and fight.
Yeah.
You have a style that would be fun to watch between you two. And to be honest, without disrespecting him, Henry is ahead of him, and Henry was giving him a shot. So what's wrong with him giving you a shot, looking down in the rankings? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The rankings, I'm starting to hear a lot of that. You know, like, I don't want to give someone behind me a chance.
Yeah.
It's just rankings, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I've done rankings for USA Today Sports for the last 10 years, and guys are always moving around like that. It just happens. And every once in a while, you pull up, and someone pulls you up, and that's just the way it works out. We didn't want Henry to get hurt. We all wanted to watch that fight, but he's hurt, and no one stepped up. And I don't see why that wouldn't be a barn burner of a fight.
Oh yeah, no, it has Fight of the Night written all over it, 100%.
So if you're telling us you can make weight and you're ready, man, we'd love to put that out in the universe. You know?
Oh yeah, I can make weight.
Hell yeah, that's a great fight.
I got a month out. Yeah.
If I'm holding a ticket, if I'm from Boston and I'm like, oh damn, we lost that fight, and then I log on to MMA Junkie and I go, Yanez stepped up. Hell yeah, I'm excited. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
That's the reputation that you carry, and to be fair, Marlon Vera carries that as well. Like sometimes you look at matchups and you go, oh wow, okay, you put these two together, that'd be great. But then you start to think, a guy like yourself, even a guy like Marlon, it doesn't matter who you're matched up against. Like people just want to watch you guys fight because you guys have that type of style. It's really entertaining. You've become very entertaining pre-fight and post-fight now. We like the, I've checked out your, what is it, your Twitch?
Oh yeah,
that's been fun too. So yeah, man, dude, we love to watch you fight. We love your guys' style. That's both of you guys. But I do want to ask you one question about your style. So, remember when I was asking you if you spoke Spanish?
Oh yeah. I'm considered a no sabo kid, and then at times I'm a ¿cómo se dice? Yeah.
Well, I just came across a video today, and it was Juan Manuel Marquez, the boxer, and he was explaining the Mexican style of boxing. And I've often, when I'm trying to tell people about you, I tell them, he's got a lot of those traits that Juan Manuel Marquez had. You guys are very similar. How often do you watch some of these fighters, and do you ever pull from them at all? Do you feel like you have that, but for MMA?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's weird that you say that because I watched him and Manny fight all 4 fights. I was.
We caught one in person.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
At
the Mandalay.
Ooh.
And just seeing the Filipino crowd and the Mexican crowd get into their national anthems, get into the walkouts.
I love
I
that.
mean, like, before the fight started, the ticket had already paid itself. Of course, we were calm.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, it felt great, and then they just delivered an awesome fight. So.
We looked for you. We went like that.
Where's Jason House? Because that was years ago. Now Jason House is front row, you know, so it's a different story.
Front row, and I was still a little kid. You know, so yeah, I grew up watching those guys. Like I watched them, and like that's what gave me my fascination with fighting. You know, watching them fight, watching them box, and it was cool. You know, because you had the heavyweight era, and then all of a sudden you go to these small guys who are like, you know, and again, I never thought I was gonna be the biggest kid. You know, I never thought I was gonna be above 6 foot. You know, so. Fighting, you see boxers all the time. They're small, they're short, you know, and they can throw hands, you know. So I grew my inspiration from them, and honestly, I would watch Juan Manuel Marquez, Julio Cesar Chavez, you know, Salvador Sanchez. I started going back and watching him.
That's old school. That's a pull there.
Yeah, and I've started to get I started because I would watch them before, but now I'm just, after the Font fight and everything, I'm going back and just like kind of going back on a deep dive on the history of boxing and the history of like Mexican boxers, you know. So right now what I'm trying to do is trying to take what were they doing and implement it to what I want to do. So so it's crazy that you say that, because I'm definitely trying to mimic that style for.
I saved it for you because he had good advice. He did bring up Salvador Sanchez on that too. So
what happens if you run into Canelo Alvarez on a plane or at a hotel or an airport, and he goes, "I caught MMA Junkie. I noticed you left me out."
You know
you
what?
mentioned Barrera and Marquez and Morales, you even went old school Sanchez. What you got something against Cinnamon?
I am never missing a Canelo fight. That's definitely one thing. But if he's coming at me aggressive, I am just gonna sit on my butt and I'm a butt scoop my way over there.
No calf kick? No calf kick to send a message?
Oh, no calf kicks. No, I'm not. Right. No, because I'm in punching range.
Got it. Hey, listen, in studio guests are some of my favorite, and the reason why is because I saved this question only for in studio guests. Can you share a good street fight story with us?
Ooh, okay. Damn, I don't know how.
You can go as far back as you want. We've heard some at preschool. We've heard some that happened yesterday.
No. This one's gonna be kind of. This is gonna be kind of hilarious.
Yeah?
Not hilarious. Wait, how long is
until Billy Q comes here? What's your time limits? You got to go?
I don't even know what time it is right.
Oh, okay. You can stick around. You can stick around while he's here, and you can be our co-host of Billy Q. But yeah, take your time.
Oh, so
this is what I like. I don't like it when they leave details out. So I want to hear what happened.
Oh, okay. So it was actually
you were at a Jack in the Box, a bowling alley. Where were you?
Oh no, it was actually crazy because now that you bring this up, it was a 4th of July incident.
Oh, okay.
It was a 4th of July incident. I would say a while back ago. Like, man, this is not long ago. I think I had just graduated. I had just graduated high school.
All right.
So I'm all training. I've been training for about 3 or 4 years at that time. The person who was driving was, a little bit intoxicated. Mm-hmm. They almost run into somebody, and pretty much like the people next to us like were yelling at us, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm in the back seat with my seatbelt on. But
it was your boy's fault.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider him my guy.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't consider him my boy at all. So
you're in the car with someone that you don't get along with?
No, because I was there with a couple other friends.
Gotcha.
That person
kind of
I was association. I was like, okay, I've seen him once or twice before. At the time I thought he was cool, but this is I hadn't seen him underneath alcohol influence whatsoever. So, what ends up happening, they're going back and forth. He's getting very aggressive. The other car, everybody in there was getting very aggressive.
How many are in the other car?
So I think there's about 3, and about us, we had the car filled, so it was 5. Yeah, so
that's not filled, man. We're Mexicans. 18 is full, not 5.
Yeah, no. So
you still had a room.
We pull over on a freeway. Pull over on a freeway. Standstill traffic. Then next thing you know, like the guy, I'm immediately, my first thing is I'm trying to break it up. I'm pushing away the other guy. The other guy was way smaller. He was about my size. The other guy was like about 6'2", 6'3". They're trying to go at it, and I'm just like,
the driver was 6'3"?
Yeah, the driver. Yeah. So I'm trying to hold them back, and me, at the time, just graduated high school. I'm just trying to hold these guys back. Like, no, don't do this, don't do this.
And what's everyone else doing?
Oh,
they just got the phone out?
No. They're fighting in the back. They're fighting, like, they all got out and were on that type of time immediately.
Oh, wow, okay. Hazards are on, cars are speeding by.
No, here's the thing.
You said the freeway.
So yeah, the freeway, but we ended up causing a standstill traffic.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so
that's a detail you can't leave out.
Oh, yeah.
This is awesome.
I love that you ask questions.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm over here trying to hold them back, and all of a sudden, all I hear is "get off me," and I look back and I see two of my friends that were girls were just beating up on the other girl that was there, and then the guy's
from the other car.
Yeah, from the other car. So the other guy's trying to pull them apart, and for some reason, I don't know if he just got frustrated trying to pull them apart, but he just punches my homegirl, and I'm like, I remember seeing that, and I just instantly just like lost it. I ran. I punched him twice. I just remember just seeing, like, it was pretty graphic, but I know I caused a
like
gap,
nice slick combos or street.
These hands came back from Mexico, just like coming back and just gave him a good old chingazo. Mm-hmm. So I hit him twice. He hit the floor, and I'm just yelling at him. I'm just like yelling. I was like, "You don't hit a girl. Like, you don't hit women." And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, "All right." And then I look behind me, and everything is starting to die off because of what I did to this guy. So after that,
that was the fight-ending sequence?
Yeah, that was the fight-ending sequence. I look back, and they're trying to get him in the car, and I'm trying to get my friends in the car. And then The one thing that
No
I will say,
CHPs arrived yet? Or sorry, I guess it
No,
would be THP, no Texas Highway Patrol.
yeah, no, none of them. Like,
No?
actually, what was crazy is that
Wow.
I got everybody in the car, and then there was a guy. There was a guy in a Tahoe who was telling me, he's like, "Hey, get out of here! Get out of here! The cops are called. The cops got called. Get out of here!" And for some reason, in my own right mind, my first reaction was to say, "Thank you, sir," and bow to the guy. Like, I thought I was in jiu-jitsu class or some shit. Like, I just went, bowed, and I just got in the car, and I was like, "All right, let's get out of here."
So this all
Bro.
worked out. Like, it was almost like, I don't know, smooth like butter.
Yeah, it was smooth like butter, yeah. And I want to thank you for that, because ever since I got my facial paralysis like 3 months ago, I haven't laughed much. You just made me laugh with the bowing. That was awesome, dude. Great way to cap a story. You were Captain Save a Friend. I won't say it. Captain Save a Friend.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not very proud of the story, but y'all.
But you
wanted
didn't
to
hit the
go-
girl. You defended the girl.
Hey, it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided.